Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into a brand new edition of Film Room. From the Star in Frisco, he's Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Youmans, ready to make you the smartest one in the room for the 3:25 kickoff between the Cowboys and the Giants in Week 10. And in order to really get a good idea of what the Cowboys could do better this week, we got to look at what they did well in Week 1 because it was the perfect game from the Cowboys' standpoint. They beat the Giants on the road at MetLife Stadium 40-0, and they did so using some scheme, maybe not the same personnel, but the same scheme that they've used as the season's gone along. What did they do well to start on offense?
Well, okay, let's go ahead and talk about man coverage, okay? The Dallas Cowboys played the most man, I take it back, Kyle. Actually, the second most man coverage in the league. You know who plays the first most? Who? The New York Giants. All right, and knowing that the New York Giants were going to play man-to-man coverage, Coach McCarthy in Week 1 against the Giants went ahead and incorporated some man beaters, okay? And I hate to bring up a sore spot, Kyle. All right, but against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys had an opportunity to score on the goal line with Mr. Schoonmaker. And for everybody's looking at Schoonmaker, but the person who actually had the on that play was actually Ferguson. He did not run his rub route correctly. But if he would have watched the film in Week 1, he would have known how to do this correctly. Let's go take a peek at it, how these guys executed this properly. Now, main ingredient here is I want you to watch these two men come off the ball and set the picks, all right? Well, pick is a legal word, but we're gonna say a rub route, okay?
It's a rub,
It's a rub, okay? And try to take these guys out of it right off on the front side of the play. On the back side of the play, you have Brandon Cooks who's gonna send his man up and then boop, cut right underneath on that, okay, coming out the chute. And then you have Mr. CeeDee Lamb who's gonna stutter, and then he's gonna come up on the wheel route, being free because of what his other guys were doing in terms of executing their assignments. So let's see this play out real quick. Right off the bat, boom. All right, you guys see CeeDee got jammed up a little bit on the line of scrimmage, pause it. Now, all right, boom, it's coming up right here. Okay, you see the pick, okay? That's B. Cooks on the pick. All right, we got Fergie also coming up to set his pick. All right, and then on the backside, we have Gallup coming on the flat route here, okay, on the shallow. All right, now what is CeeDee doing? CeeDee is letting all this stuff clear out. He's letting all this clear out, letting everybody get caught up on the wash, and then he's gonna run the wheel route and be all the way open on this play. Makes it easy play for Dak to sit back there in the pocket, nice and comfortable. Because of all the things that were convoluted on the inside, he gets a big play, easy completion, and now you just go out there and do what you do with that yak yardage, yards after catch. That was the start of a great start to the season for CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, you got to find a way to scheme it up the same way. It doesn't matter who's the opponent on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. If you can scheme it up the right way, your guys will be open. I mean, that was a scheme open for CeeDee Lamb.
It was execution too, Kyle. Everybody did
great execution. Got it done.
Yep.
Got the job done. Now, in this matchup, it was also a 0 put on the board by the Dallas defense. There's no Daniel Jones this week. Instead, the Cowboys will see Tommy DeVito, a rookie out of Illinois. But what kind of challenges can they expect to see from the Giants on defense that maybe this team has already seen this year?
You know, well, the thing is, if you're Dan Quinn, you know that one person is going to try to get the rock, and that's going to be Saquon Barkley. So if you know that Saquon Barkley is going to be highly touted in this particular game, you want to make sure that you're in single high safety. Well, historically, he does that anyway, but let's make sure that we do that in this particular game. Right here in this coverage here, you guys are going to see is cover 3. Okay, in cover 3, this cornerback has a third of the field. This safety has a third of the field. This cornerback has a third of the field. All right, these guys that are underneath, he has a hook drop, okay? He's coming out here to his drop, and he's coming out here to his hook drop. This is Wanye Thomas right here, who I'm going to be highlighting, and he's going to be going up against Mr. Darren Waller. That's one heck of a matchup for a young fella who's going up against Darren Waller, who's not going to be in this game, but he was in that first game. But I want you to see, even though Mr. Wanye Thomas has this area, okay, over here, he still, if somebody comes in his area without anybody else threatening in that zone, it turns into a man-to-man coverage. So let's see it play out real quick. You're gonna see Darren Waller gonna come up, tries to widen them out. All right, he's gonna try to fake it like he's coming on the in route and then try to whip it out. Okay, but I want you guys to see Mr. Wanye Thomas. He has this thing keyed up. He's sitting inside, okay? So he's ready for anything that comes inside, all right? But he goes with them, and then he puts his foot in the ground, comes back out, does a great job. Look how in sync he is, right? When Darren Waller puts his foot in the ground, he puts his foot in the ground, comes in, drives down towards the inside, bats the ball down. That is a PBU. You guys see him right there. No fly zone right there with Wanye Thomas. Even though he was in a cover 3 zone, he had a man-to-man responsibility against one of the more threatening tight ends in the league, and he took care of business. That's something that you're going to have to do again this week. Even though they don't have a Waller, you're still going to be threatened in that regard.
That's execution.
That is definitely execution.
Step for step all the way through, knowing the film study, knowing the challenge at hand, and taking advantage of it. We saw that again later in the game against the Giants, where on the opposite side, it was Trayvon Diggs and DaRon Bland. Now, unfortunately, the Cowboys, of course, do not have Trayvon Diggs in the fold, but they do have Jordan Lewis on the inside. DaRon Bland picks to the outside. How can they have a replication of this play that resulted in 6 for the defense?
Well, if they shut down Saquon Barkley much like they did in the first game, then they're going to be looking for ways in 3rd and long situations to try to throw the ball to Saquon Barkley because they don't have a lot of weapons on the outside. So even when you're in single high safety, if you're effective in your defense, they're now going to be in 3rd and long situations. In 3rd and long situations, what can you do? You can relax a little bit, go to 2 high safety, and run what we call Tampa 2. What is Tampa 2? Well, you got Gilmore over here. He's going to be up in this press man situation here, but he has this entire zone. Okay, what else is going on? We have our safeties that are responsible for their half of the field. Okay, and once those guys are responsible for their half of the field, now we have our hook drops. Okay, these guys are responsible for this portion of the field. And then we have Van Der Esch on this particular instance that's going to go to what he considers to be the strength, and he's going to come out to this deep zone here. Anything that comes vertical, that's in his area, he has to take that. Okay, so that is Tampa 2. That's your responsibilities. Now, typically in Tampa 2, you force this receiver to go outside. Okay, the cornerback kind of just sits, nothing else goes on. But in this particular instance, Trayvon Diggs, being the savvy vet that he is, as the play goes on, you see him, he steps up, but where's his eyes at right now? His eyes are on this quarterback the entire time. Not only are they on the quarterback, they are on who? He knows who's supposed to get the ball, Mr. Saquon Barkley. All right, Danny Dimes, obviously he does not know how to look off a cornerback or a safety. He decides to throw the ball right to Mr. Saquon Barkley. And who's there waiting on him? Johnny on the spot. Bye-yow, Mr. Trayvon Diggs hits him. As soon as he gets the ball, what's your name?
DaRon Bland.
DaRon Bland is Johnny on the spot. He gets his first pick 6 of the year. That started off, that's 1 of 3 on the year that he had. He did an amazing job, but it was all started off by Trayvon Diggs having his eyes in the right spot, knowing his responsibilities, and knowing who most likely was going to get the ball. So when he tried to throw it to their number 1 weapon, he popped him in his chest. Ball pops up, tips and overthrows. Gotta get those.
That's how it goes for the Cowboys defense. You had 40-0 the first time around. It would only be the 5th time ever that a team had beaten a team by 40 points or more twice in their entirety. Back-to-back games, it might be a lot for the Cowboys, but they'll try and do so this week for the Week 10 matchup at AT&T Stadium. You can catch Isaiah Stanback and myself on pregame live starting at 2 p.m. Central on DallasCowboys.com, live from AT&T Stadium. The game starts at 3:25. We'll see you then. That does it for us on Film Room.